Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 4, and we are specifically going to talk about, I have and actually that Episode 4 is called the Sauna Test, and I'm going to talk, I have a mnemonic, so we're going to talk about Gate, Host, Exhaust, Army. All right, so at this point we return to the basement team. So what is the basement team? So first of all, the Scoops Ahoy team I love, which is Robin, Dustin, and Steve Harrington, which is a really interesting cut because Dustin really is. Oh, and Erica. Dustin is really cut off from the core four, and it really reshapes the social aspects of the show because the core four is really split for season 3. So we're going to talk about the basement team. So who is the basement team? The basement team is now the 3, okay, out of the 4. So it's Mike Wheeler, Will Byers, Lucas Sinclair, and then Max and 11, and that is the basement team, right? And it's and these two groups really are separated a lot of season 3. The other thing that I wanted to talk about right now is Lucas, right? So at this point, Lucas is still with the core 4, but now that we understand the shape of this show, Lucas in the next year, he decides to break off from the core 4 and abandons Dungeons and Dragons to pursue popularity, to become part of the basketball team. And Lucas is very smart. I think he knows, he's actually taking action to cut himself off from, to literally cut himself off from the core 4. And that's significant, right? Because it means that Lucas really is willing to sever his ties with the core 4, which because the reason why is High School Musical is not a thing. You can't be in both the the play and the basketball team. You have to commit to one or the other. And I just thought it was really fascinating. It really was quite fascinating with Lucas, and we're starting to see this now, right? Lucas is also very disconnected from Will Byers, and is really only connected to Mike in their joint pursuit of girls, right? And so that's what's binding them together. So we're starting to see the seed that grows into Lucas to end his position in the core 4, which is pretty, it's significant. It's very significant aspect of the show in season 3. So at this point, Will Byers explains that the basement team begins to talk about, well, what's happening, right? Because they know that there's essentially a new front that's being built by the Upside Down. And so Will explains that the shadow monster was in him, and then it was pushed out, and the gate was sealed. Well, when the gate was sealed, that shadow monster was sealed on the outside of the Upside Down, so it couldn't go in and out, right? And so that thing has been on the outside ever since, and it's looking for a new host. And so 11 and Max and Mike and Will and Lucas come to the understanding, hey, Billy is almost certainly the new host, and they're not wrong. He is, but now they have to find out if that's the case or not, right? And so they devise the sauna test. They realize, and actually, Will Byers is like, you have to keep things cold. They can't stand heat, and we saw this in the last season where they put heaters up to him, and it was making him very uncomfortable to get this creature to go outside of Will, right? So it's a very interesting aspect of the show, of the Upside Down monster. This, constant mystery to determine what is the shape of these Upside Down things, because they are supernatural. It's not easy to understand exactly what they are or why they function in the way that they function. So at that point, so they devise this sauna test. So they trap Billy Hargrove in the sauna at the private pool, where Billy is a lifeguard, and where the Wheelers actually have a membership, right? That's interesting too. Like, they're the only ones with memberships, right? Like, Dustin Henderson, his mom's a single mom. They don't have a membership. We never see Lucas's family with a membership, and the buyers don't have money for a private pool, subscription, right, or membership. So very, very interesting aspect. So at this point, they trap Billy Hargrove, and the entire basement team is there, but Billy actually breaks through the window, and he's got a sharp piece of glass, and he's trying to get out. And at this point, Billy fully manifests all of his shadow monster mind flayer, and that's the new term, mind flayer powers. So he manifests his mind flayer powers, and at this point he's extremely strong, right? And he actually breaks through the door, and Lucas has his slingshot, and Mike Wheeler has nothing, but actually Billy breaks through, and 11 does her thing, picks him up, kinetically controls him, but then he breaks that, and Mike Wheeler has to beat him with a pipe, right? So they are physically fighting Billy Hargrove in his mind flayer powers at this point. And finally, and this gets really close to deadly, right? Because Billy Hargrove is exhibiting quite a lot of powers. And so then 11 goes to do what she always does, which is, I'm just going to power through this, and I'll use all my, psychic powers. And why are you guys here? Right? Which we've seen through the whole show. You're like, well, every time there's a problem to be solved, 11 jumps in and solves it. And at this point, they actually get, the Duffer brothers get to the point. They're like, hey, she's a battery, right? And when her charge gets low, that's it, right? Like, you can't just do this forever, right? Which I thought was interesting. And so at this point, she takes Billy Hargrove and literally throws him through a brick wall, right? But it exhausts her. It fully exhausts her. She doesn't kill Billy, and actually Billy goes back. And I've kept saying that the warehouse, right? That old warehouse. It's not an old warehouse. It's an abandoned steel mill. So Billy Hargrove goes back to the abandoned steel mill, and Heather's there, and he's like, they're ready for us. They know we're coming. And she's like, it's not a problem because we have the army. And they look in the abandoned steel mill, and literally 100 citizens from Hawkins have been turned into these amalgamated flesh soldiers, right? And almost like an alien, like the alien pod thing, where they create a human who is barely a human. And so they have this army, and the Upside Down is staged, to move all the way through. And that is the end of Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 4, The Sauna Test. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.